Welcome to Steelers Talk Live here on a Wednesday. I am joined by producer Jeffrey Cooperstein, and today we're going to be talking about the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold. Shout out to all the real ones that showed up here at the beginning of today's show, right at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, which of course include Justin Fields, who has been really been heating up. Those rumors have been really heating up here over the last 24 hours or so. The betting markets have made a major shift to really thinking that Fields is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler this year. We'll break that down, whether or not I actually think a deal is going to get done, and then what a deal could potentially look like. Also, Fletcher Cox said he might want to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. That's intriguing to me. ESPN just released their latest mock draft with Field Yates. Has the Steelers taking a quarterback? We'll be breaking down who Field has us taken at number 20 overall. And then also later in today's show, I'm going to be breaking down moves to free up cap space for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. Even after cutting Mitchell Trubisky, Chukwuma Okorafor, and Presley Harvin III earlier this week, they still need to make some more moves. They're still in the red for the 2024 season at this point. So there's going to have to be some moves that are going to have to be made here by the Pittsburgh Steelers to get back in the black and give them some freedom to sign some guys in free agency. Then for our final segment today, make sure you guys stick around because I got my Super Bowl offseason plan. The perfect plan to get to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans next year. I think that there's some moves that the Steelers can absolutely make to give themselves the best shot to win the AFC and get themselves to the Super Bowl next year. And then, of course, as always, I got the Steelers Talk Live mailbag here. I'm going to be answering your questions. Coop, how are we doing today, my friend?
I am great.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Coop, how you doing today, my friend?
I am good, brother. Just before we got off live, there was a report from Mike Florio that Kirk Cousins could be interested in joining the Steelers.
Yeah, Mike Florio goes out there and he says, hey, man, the Cousins team is intrigued by the possibility of him going to Pittsburgh next year. And listen, we didn't have anything with Cousins scripted today, so we won't be talking much about him during our segments today. But when it comes to Kirk Cousins, okay, I'm not sure how I feel about that because I think Kirk is probably the best quarterback available on the market.
Most expensive, though.
But he's also the most expensive, and the Steelers don't have a ton of cap space. So even if they somehow magically get enough cap space to pay this guy what he wants, you're going to have literally no money left over for other free agents.
To do anything.
So to do anything. You can't sign a corner. You can't sign another wide receiver. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that you can't do. You probably have to trade Deontay Johnson just to get him on your team, and that's probably not something I'm willing to do, Coop.
No
I think I would still rather have Russell Wilson or Justin Fields because those two options are way less expensive. You can get Russell Wilson on the vet minimum, and you can get Justin Fields for just about $3 million on the cap next year.
And we'll talk about a trade idea later in the show for Justin Fields that blew my mind. That was just, it was crazy. I can't wait for y'all to see that.
It's going to be a great show. Make sure you guys use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat if you want to get a comment, a question, or an idea on today's mailbag. If you want to guarantee your spot on the mailbag, you got to Super Chat, guys, okay? Hashtag Steelers means that you might get on the show. Super Chat means guaranteed on the show. So I don't want to see anyone crying in the comment section if you use hashtag Steelers and you didn't get a question on the mailbag. You got to Super Chat to guarantee your spot on today's mailbag. If you just use hashtag Steelers, you might get on, you might not. All right, so before we get into today's segments, I do want to shout out today's sponsor at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. Game Time is perfect for me personally because I'm somebody that likes to get tickets last minute. I'll be just sitting here at my office here at Chat Sports with Coop, and I'll be like, you know what, man, I want to go to a Dallas Mavericks game tonight or a Texas Rangers game, or I want to go to a concert with Cassie tonight, and I'll just pull out my Game Time app whenever the mood strikes, and I'll check out what flash deals they have on their app. And what the flash deals are, guys, is that they already have the lowest price guarantee, so no matter what, if you're buying tickets on Game Time, it's already guaranteed to be the lowest price for that section at that particular event. But also, you get flash deals, which means they drive the prices down even lower when it gets closer to the event. All right, so it's absolutely perfect for people like me that don't like to compare prices on different apps, all these different things. It's guaranteed on Game Time to be the lowest price, and you get even lower prices the closer you wait to the event. Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. It also boasts a lowest price guarantee, like I've been saying, on all tickets to any event. And it's not just sports, guys. It's comedy, it's theater, it's music festivals. If you can buy tickets to an event, Game Time has it on their app, so it's the only ticketing app that you need on your phone. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through that pesky email to grab your tickets. Snag the tickets now without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. One word, all caps. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat. One word, all caps, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And we got a first-time super chatter here from Chase Talk Steelers.
Shout out.
Let's go, man. First-time super chatter. Let's give him some Ric Flair drip.
Woo!
Woo! And he sent in a 5 and said, random question, if the Steelers get Justin, what number would he wear? Because isn't number 1 retired? And I was thinking number 2 would look the best.
We were actually talking about this in the office like yesterday.
We were talking about this the other day. And you know what? I'll answer this on the mailbag today, Chase Talk Steelers. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. So, Coop, let's get into this first segment coming up here. But you know what? Before we get into the segment, let's go over the super chat menu real quick. All right, so any super chat that gets on the show is going to make it to the mailbag, okay? You're going to get a shout out on the show, all that stuff, okay? But if you every $10 that you spend today, you get 1 raffle ticket for our raffle item for the month of February. We'll show you guys that here in just a second. $20, you get your name on the Helmet Hall of Fame. I got a full-size Steelers helmet. I'll write your name on there for a $20 super chat, and then we're going to be raffling that helmet off at the end of the offseason. And then $100 total gets you into the Steelers Talk Gold Club. And then also we have a special promotion this week, or this month, during the month of February. Whoever puts in the most $50 super chats during the month of February is going to win this customized jersey, February Yins MVP, number 29 for the number of days in February. So whoever puts in the most $50 super chats is going to win this. Marilyn Krieger at this point is in the lead with one $50 super chat. All right, so now on today's show, guys, coming up, latest Steelers news and rumors, Justin Fields, ESPN mock draft, Fletcher Cox, Patrick Peterson even made the show today. And then also later in the show, we're going to be breaking down the moves that Omar Khan can make in the coming weeks to free up cap space in preparation for NFL free agency. I got my perfect Super Bowl offseason plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then, of course, I'm answering your questions on the mailbag. So use hashtag Steelers to put your name in consideration, and then super chat to guarantee your spot on today's mailbag. All right.
Hit that thumbs up icon before we start. We need to get to 50 likes right now.
Let's get to 50 likes now before we start. We're at 35, 186 people watching. The Justin Fields rumors are hot. Let's go.
They're scorching, some might say.
We're at 36 likes, almost 200 people watching. I see some people are still filing in here, so make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon to get things going. Use hashtag Steelers for your chance to get on the mailbag today. If you want to guarantee your spot, make sure you guys super chat. $10 gets you into the raffle for this month's raffle. Do we have the picture of the raffle item?
Did we put it up?
No, that's the $50. I'm talking about the
other one?
Yeah, the other one.
I do not. We'll do it. We'll show them at the end of the other segment.
All right, sounds good. So let's get to this first segment right now. We got 60 likes. We passed that 50 marker. So let's get into the latest Steelers news and rumors heading into the week here after Super Bowl 58. Is Justin Fields actually going to be a Pittsburgh Steelers? The rumors are getting hot, people, and today I'm going to be reacting to those and tell you whether or not I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to pull that trigger and bring the former first-round QB right here to the Steel City. Also, there's a report out there that the Steelers are planning to cut Patrick Peterson. I'm going to be breaking down that report and what it could mean for the future of the Steelers secondary. And then finally here, Fletcher Cox wants to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He told Cam Hayward on his podcast earlier this week that he'd love to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to let you know whether or not I think that's a good idea for this team to pick up Cox, the older defensive tackle, in free agency. Make sure you guys stay tuned for which QB ESPN has the Steelers taking at number 20 overall in their latest mock draft. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon right now to kick off today's show. It tells the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy our content and that they should push this video out to as many Steelers fans as possible. If you're a real one, you know what to do. Click that thumbs up icon right now. So when you look at the betting markets right now, they have made a major shift this week when it comes to Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, and where he's going to be playing football next in 2024, because it looks like the Bears are going to be taking Caleb Williams, number 1 overall in the NFL draft, which means they're probably going to trade Justin Fields to a different team, and the Steelers are running away with the odds right now. They are now the most likely team, the most likely destination for Justin Fields, plus 100 odds right now, according to the DraftKings Sportsbook. Chicago is at 150, plus 150. Plus 550 is Atlanta, plus 650 is New England, and then plus 1,200 for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, what I'll say about this, guys, is that I know that when there's smoke, there's fire and all this different stuff, but keep in mind here that Pittsburgh and the people inside the building and all the people that report on the team in Pittsburgh are saying the same thing, which is that the Steelers believe in Kenny Pickett and that the plan is to try to get the most out of him in 2024 with Arthur Smith coming in as the new offensive coordinator, and they're not thinking about bringing in somebody to straight up replace him. I go over the reasons why I would rather replace Kenny Pickett in a video we did yesterday. I'm going to put the link in the comments and description of today's show. I go over a couple reasons why I think the Steelers are still hopeful for Kenny Pickett, and then I give some reasons why I think the Steelers need to move off of him if they want to win Super Bowls moving forward. So I would be stoked to get Fields personally, guys. Anybody that's watched the show in the past knows how much I'm in favor of taking a bigger swing at the quarterback position, because if you're in a conference with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and all these super talented quarterbacks, like a mid-level game manager type quarterback, which is kind of the ceiling for Kenny Pickett at this point, if we're being honest, I just don't know if that gets the job done. However, Justin Fields. Now, even though I know he has some of the issues that Pickett has in terms of being a passer, he adds a whole nother element here, which is his rushing ability. He is the best rushing quarterback on the planet Earth today, and you combine that with a really good run game here in Pittsburgh with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, along with a retooled offensive line, good weapons, and a super quarterback-friendly system here in Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith. I mean, in this system, Justin Fields, a lot of his weaknesses as a passer would be diminished, and his strengths as a playmaker, not only with his legs, but also with his arm. He's got a super strong arm, a really good deep ball. All these things would be magnified in this quarterback-friendly offense that doesn't require him to make too many difficult reads, and it really would allow him to shine and let that talent that he has really shine through. And really, this could be one of the most dangerous rushing attacks in the National Football League with Justin Fields at the helm of this offense. I mean, just imagine, man, you got two really good running backs in Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, and you still have to worry about Justin Fields as a rusher. Good luck stopping that, especially later in the season when it's cold, when it's rainy, when it's windy. That would give the Steelers such an advantage, and I really do think this could be the best rushing attack in the National Football League if you make the move for Justin Fields. So Pro Football Focus actually put out their trade idea here for the Justin Fields to go to the Steelers here. So we got Justin Fields going to Pittsburgh, and in exchange, he has the Steelers giving Chicago their second-round pick this year, number 51 overall, and then also their fifth-round pick in 2025. So let me know how you guys are feeling about this potential trade package. I would absolutely pull the trigger on this if I was GM Omar Khan, but let me know how you're feeling. Is he worth a second and fifth-round pick? Type A for accept or D for decline for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So now let's shift here to Patrick Peterson, because there's a report out there right now that if he doesn't agree to take a pay cut this offseason, that the Steelers plan to release him, just like they did with Mitchell Trubisky, Presley Harvin III, and Chukwuma Okorafor earlier this week. So the report comes from Ray Fittipaldo here from Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and this is what he had to say. There's better than a 50-50 chance that he gets cut unless he takes a pay cut to return. That's my analysis. Can't see them taking on a $10 million cap hit for a guy who can no longer play outside, and you don't keep that cap hit for a hybrid safety rotational type player. Now, you look at the breakdown here for Patrick Peterson in terms of the money that would be dead and the money that would be saved from the 2024 cap if you decide to release him. You'd be saving, the dead cap would be about $3 million, and you'd be saving just under $7 million. So keep that in mind as we have this discussion here. But I really do think Patrick Peterson wants to be here in Pittsburgh. And if they go to him and say, hey, man, you're not an outside corner for us anymore. Your speed diminished in 2023. The only way we're going to keep you here is if you play safety, and we don't want to pay you your current salary, pretty much a number one corner salary to play safety. So I really do think Patrick Peterson might take this pay cut because he likes it here in Pittsburgh. He wants to win a Super Bowl. He sees the talent on this roster, and especially if they have a quarterback heading into the year that he believes in, like potentially a Justin Fields or a Russell Wilson or somebody else, I really do think that he would take that pay cut to try and win a Super Bowl here in the Steel City. Now predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will Patrick Peterson be a Pittsburgh Steeler in 2024, or will the Steelers let him go? Type yes or no for me down there in the comments section to let me know how you feel about Patrick Peterson. And now let's move over to Fletcher Cox here, who told Cam Hayward on his podcast that he wants to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. And of course, he's a former All-Pro. He's been one of the best interior pass rushers in the National Football League for such a long time. And this would definitely be an interesting pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is what Cox had to say to the man of the year this year, Cam Hayward. It's all love, just the respect you got for the game, respect that I have for the game. That way, that you play the game, that way, or the way I play the game, like we definitely could. That would be nice. We could make some things happen. So I love that Cox wants to come to Pittsburgh, and I'd love to have him here. I think that anytime you can put good, experienced players along your defensive line, that's a good thing. But the question is he going to accept, the lower contract that the Steelers would probably offer him? Because he'd be in a rotational role here. You got Larry Ogunjobi, you have Cam Hayward, you have Keanu Benton, who's really budding into a star. So if Fletcher Cox wants to come to Pittsburgh in a rotational role and on a lower, like a really team-friendly contract, I'm all for that, but I'm not sure if he's going to be willing to go down a peg that much, and I think that he might want to be an every down starter for a team or whatever team he ends up going to. He's also talked very lovingly about the Philadelphia Eagles organization in that interview with Captain Cam, so it really wouldn't surprise me if Fletcher Cox is back in Philly. But if he wants to take a pay cut and try to win a Super Bowl here in Pittsburgh, it wouldn't shock me to see Fletcher Cox in the black and gold either. So still to come here on Steelers Talk, could Bo Nix be the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Field Yates from ESPN seems to think so. He has the Steelers taking him number 20 overall in this year's NFL draft. I'll give you my reaction to that here in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. If you're somebody like me that likes to get tickets last minute, Game Time is perfect for you because they got the lowest price guarantee and they got flash deals right before game time. So you always make sure that you're paying the lowest possible price for the ticket in your section to your event. Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States of America because it boasts a lowest price guarantee, like I said, on all tickets, to any event. So it's the only ticketing app that you need on your phone. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone instead of your email, so you never have to dig through that pesky email to get your tickets. It's just sent directly to your phone. Makes it super convenient. Snag the tickets now without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. That's one word, all caps, SteelersChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and create an account and redeem code SteelersChat, one word, all caps, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So could the Oregon Duck QB Bo Nix be the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? And Field Yates from ESPN just released his first NFL mock draft. I mean, since they got rid of Todd McShay's ass, it seems like they're trying to make up for his absence. And Field Yates, man, I really don't think he knows what he's talking about, because the only other person that has projected Bo Nix to the Steelers is Jason McIntyre, and that guy stinks, all right? So let's see what Field Yates had to say about bringing in Bo Nix to be the next quarterback of the Steelers. This one might be a surprise. You can say that, Field Yates, absolutely, as the Steelers have backed Kenny Pickett, who they took at number 20 2 years ago this offseason. But they also said they plan to add competition for him in the quarterback room. Quarterback picks in this range are often polarizing, but my fundamental mindset is the Steelers' ceiling with Pickett under center is too low for a franchise whose standard is not simply making the playoffs, but making deep runs. Pittsburgh has lost 5 straight playoff games now. So I completely agree with Field Yates that it's a problem that Kenny Pickett doesn't have the ceiling to really push this team forward in the postseason. Even if he develops, he's going to be like a decent game manager type that's not really going to push the envelope and be able to outduel a guy like Patrick Mahomes. But neither is Bo Nix. I mean, let's just be completely honest here, man. Like, Bo Nix doesn't have the strongest arm. All right, he was in a super college-y type offense where he threw screens like 30% of his passes. I mean, you really think this guy's going to be able to come in and win a Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers very quickly? I mean, the criteria that he's using here is deep playoff runs. Like, are we really expecting Bo Nix to lead deep playoff runs for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the near future? I mean, seriously, are we really expecting this, Field Yates? I mean, what are we talking about here? There is no way Bo Nix leads this team to like an AFC championship game or goes into like Arrowhead Stadium and beats Kansas City in a playoff game. So, I mean, I agree that the goal should be to get a quarterback that can win these big playoff games, but the solution of Bo Nix as the quarterback to do that, I think is just absolutely absurd. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. What is your one-word reaction if the Steelers take Bo Nix to replace Kenny Pickett as the starting quarterback of this football team in round 1 of the 2024 NFL Draft? For me personally, my one-word reaction would be vomit, because that's what I would be doing if Bo Nix is the pick at number 20 for the black and gold. So before I go, I do have one last rumor that I want to discuss, and it surrounds special teams, all right? So, you know, I have a special affiliation with special teams, all right? And specifically Presley Harvin III was so bad. I want to see the Steelers get a really good punter. And the good news is that the Steelers have been connected with somebody that has been referred to as the punt god, Matt Araiza, somebody that was kind of castigated from the National Football League for some pretty absurd reasons in hindsight here. But Matt Araiza is coming back to the National Football League. He's going to be probably signing somewhere this offseason. And why not the Pittsburgh Steelers, man? I say get this man in the building. We have had enough of Presley Harvin's bullshit. All right, now we can get a guy that could actually punt the ball more than 40 yards down the field. All right, let's get this done, Pittsburgh. Let's bring in the punt god, and let's be really great on the special teams end of the football game that we've really been missing here over the last several years. All right, that's going to be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button for premium Steelers coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. All right, so we got a $10 super chat here from Jacob Wizarak, Gold Club member. Updated his profile picture. I like it. He says, I would love a Fields or a Wilson. Oh, I thought he meant Zach Wilson at first. I'm like, no way. But it's Russell Wilson. But I truly don't think the Steelers are going for them. I would love them to go for Tannehill or maybe bring back Mason, even though he said he's looking for a fresh start. So, you know, if they're looking for a backup for Kenny Pickett, it's going to be either Mason Rudolph or Ryan Tannehill. All right, I really do believe that. I mean, Tannehill has that connection with Artie Smith, and then Mason Rudolph has the connection with the Steelers. So if Mason can't find, a starting job elsewhere or even a good backup job, he's going to be back, all right? It seems like the Steelers really like him. They want him back. But if he ends up taking that fresh start elsewhere, absolutely, Ryan Tannehill's probably going to be the option. But I completely agree with you, Jacob, that I would rather have Fields or Wilson because you need somebody that can push the envelope a little bit. And Fields, I think, would give you probably the best run game in the National Football League. And it would be like ground and pound. Like it would be like revolutionary to have two good running backs, a retooled offensive line, and then the best rushing quarterback on the planet in the same offense. I mean, good luck stopping that, man. And then you put Justin Fields in this offense, which is super QB friendly. It would limit the mistakes. It would accentuate his strengths as a passer. All right, the strong arm, the ability to push the ball down the field. Right, that was the best stuff that he did in Chicago, was being able to go play action. He had one or two reads, and he was able to make a read and be decisive. All right, where he struggled was when Luke Getsy was like, "We're going to try to make you into a pure progression thrower from the shotgun," and that was just completely disastrous. So, I mean, Arthur Smith wouldn't do that with Fields, and I feel like he'd be a really good fit here. And then you combine that with the talents of all the other great players we have on offense. I think it would be something special. Now, I do think Russell Wilson probably gives you the best chance to win a Super Bowl next year in the short term. Fields could be something special for many, many years. So I would be cool with either one of those options. Absolutely. Good question, Jacob. Then we got a first-time super chat from Timothy Locklear.
A 20.
A 20. So Timmy's going to be getting his name on the helmet. By the way, you want to go grab the helmet?
Yeah, I'll go get it real quick.
Yeah, go get the helmet. We'll put Timmy's name on there real quick.
Well, where's your Sharpie?
It should be in my little bucket thing.
Okay.
Right next to the helmet. Right next to the helmet. There's a bucket. You should see it. All right, so the first time super chat, let's give him some Ric Flair drip. Woo! Thank you, Timmy. And he says, we need a center. The play was not up to the Steelers' standards. 100%, Timmy. Agreed. All right, now I think the big question when it comes to center is not whether or not they're going to get a replacement for Mason Cole. I think that's pretty much for sure going to happen. I think Mason Cole is probably going to get cut in the next couple of days or so. The question is going to be, do they address the need in free agency or do they address the need in the draft? And that's really going to be the big question because, there's some really good centers in the NFL draft this year. Jackson Powers-Johnson out of the University of Oregon. You've got guys like Zach Frazier out of West Virginia University. Then you got Cedric Van Pran from Georgia. There's a bunch of great stuff. There's a bunch of great centers in the draft, but there's also some really good centers in free agency as well. So I'm going to put Timmy Locklear on the helmet here. Appreciate the 20, my friend. And let's keep her moving, says producer Coop. Let's get into the second segment right now, which is ways to clear cap space if you're GM Omar Khan. I've got 12 moves that the Steelers could make to clear up quite a bit in cap space here. Coop needs to fix a graphic real quick, so you can excuse him. Make sure you guys get your questions in, though. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to try to get your name on today's mailbag, all right? Super Chat is the only way to get your question guaranteed on the show, okay? But also, hashtag Steelers is perfectly fine. Just know, though, if you use hashtag Steelers, it's not guaranteed that you get on the mailbag. The only way you guarantee it is if you super chat. So make sure you get those questions in because we'd like to go right into the mailbag after this next segment. Coop, I'm going to take one more drink of water here. All right, let's get into this next segment coming up right now. 12 moves the Pittsburgh Steelers can make to free up cap space in 2024. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today I'm going to be breaking down 12 moves that the Pittsburgh Steelers and their GM, Omar Khan, can make before NFL free agency to clear up cap space to kind of give this team some interesting possibilities as they approach the free agency market in about a month's time. before we get into the moves that I'll be suggesting today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because whenever they make a move, whenever they make a cut, if they restructure somebody, if they extend a player, we're going to have you covered with breaking news coverage right here on the channel, 100% free, whether I'm on vacation, whether I'm on a day off at my apartment, whatever the case may be. I'm going to get a video to you guys no matter what. You're not going to find that dedication anywhere else on Steelers YouTube. Also, free agency and the NFL draft. All throughout the offseason, we're going to have daily coverage on both, breaking down which players the Steelers are targeting, advanced scouting reports on all the top targets, all that great stuff. We have a weekly live show every single week on Wednesdays starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And oh yeah, all of this premium content, guys, it is 100% free. So if you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, you want to become an expert on this football team this year, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. So a little bit of a disclaimer here before we get into it. I'm not necessarily suggesting the Steelers make every single one of these moves. I'm just kind of presenting everybody here with options, and I'm letting you know what you could expect to see here in the coming weeks to potentially make some more room in terms of the 2024 cap for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's start with the starting spot here, because after you cut Mitchell Trubisky, after you cut Chukwuma Okorafor, and after you cut Presley Harvin III earlier this week, you're left with this much cap space. So you're still in the red, all right? Negative $4.3 million, which ranks 25th in the National Football League to this point. So you need to make some room before free agency, and you definitely need to make room before the season starts, because you need to. It's a hard cap league. So first, let's go over some cuts, because there's definitely some guys, along with Trubisky, Presley, and Chucks, that can definitely get cut for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's start with the wide receiver, Allen Robinson, okay? Because this one's super easy. This guy was a freaking parking cone last year, couldn't get open to save his life. All right, and you can save $10 million by cutting him. I'm actually surprised he didn't get cut at the same time that like Trubisky and Chucks got cut, because this one is so obvious to me. Dead cap, you do have to eat about $2 million, a little bit less than $2 million for the 2024 cap, but saving $10 million is absolutely worth it. Allen Robinson can't get open anymore. He's too slow. He's not an NFL wide receiver. Another player that I think they should absolutely cut as well is Mason Cole, the center. Now, even though you can make an argument he'd be a decent backup, I mean, he's over $5 million in a cap hit for a backup center. That's not something I want to do. You can save $4.75 million by cutting him, and the dead cap isn't all that bad. It's just $1.5 million for 2024. And then a couple of players in the secondary that I think could be cut as well. Damontae Kazee, he's lost his legs, he's lost his speed, absolutely showed towards the tail end of the season last year. If you cut him, you save $3 million, and the dead cap is practically nothing. So, you know, I like Patrick Peterson moving to safety. I like bringing back Trenton Thompson, who still has one year left on his deal, and we'll go over potentially some guys to re-sign, but Damontae Kazee is not somebody that belongs on an NFL field anymore. Another guy to cut is Keanu Neal. Even though I like kind of the versatility between linebacker and safety that he provides, I don't really think there's going to be much of a role for him if he stays, and you can save $2.25 million by cutting him, and practically nothing in terms of dead cap if you cut him loose this offseason. So these moves in total would save you exactly $20 million. All right, so that's going to give you quite a bit of room to work with, all right? And we haven't even gotten to restructures or extensions yet, which can also create room. So if you take just this number of $20 million saved with just these 4 cuts, that gets you in the black over $15.5 million, all right? So that's a pretty darn good figure to start with, and then you can do the restructures, and you can do all this different sort of stuff to get back in the black once you make your moves in free agency. So I think this is a good starting point. Make those 4 cuts, and you're going to be in pretty darn good shape if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let me know down there in the comment section, what is your confidence level in Steelers general manager Omar Khan? I got to put this at like a 9.5 or a 10, because I am super confident in this guy after what he did with an excellent offseason last year. I have all the confidence in the world. Omar Khan is going to have a great offseason yet again here in 2024. But let me know your confidence level down there in the comment section on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not confident at all to 10 being completely confident. This is going to be today's pinned comment, which means there's a comment right at the top of the comment section. Go find that when YouTube throws you an ad break here in a couple of seconds. Give me a number 1 through 10. So now let's talk about some potential guys that the Steelers could restructure. And these are the guys with longer contracts, big figures that they can that they can convert some of their base salary to signing bonuses and kind of get things rolling in the right direction. So we look at this right here. Minkah Fitzpatrick has 3 years left on his deal. Alex Highsmith has 4 years left on his deal. And then Sayamalo, Ogunjobi, and Holcomb have 2 years left on their deal, which makes it a little bit harder to restructure their contracts. So I think Sayamalo, Ogunjobi, and Holcomb probably not going to get restructured, but I could absolutely see Minkah Fitzpatrick and Alex Highsmith getting restructured this offseason to make some more room for the moves they want to make in NFL free agency this year. And I really don't think the Steelers need to go crazy with the restructures this year, even though they're in win-now mode, and that's kind of when you do these restructures because it front-loads all the contracts. It gets as much talent as possible on the roster. I don't think they need to go crazy on this year because you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation 2-3 years down the line when you're paying some of these guys a massive, massive cap hit because you restructured this year. So you want to play it smart and only do the moves that need to be made to make the moves that you want in free agency. You know, you have to have the guys that you're targeting in free agency. You have to have a set price and a set budget, and then you have to be able to execute that plan and not try to overspend on some of these players. So coming up, I got 3 players that I want the Steelers to extend, guys that are on the final year of their contract and I think could deserve extensions during the 2024 offseason. But before I reveal who those 3 players are, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. And right now, the offseason is the perfect time to cash in on some of the offseason deals that they're having on their website, including on this awesome Throwback Steelers t-shirt that they're currently having on sale on their website right now. When you go to chatsports.com/throwback, you got to love that throwback helmet there. Really like the design. Super simple. It's nothing too crazy. All right. I like the kind of the simpler designs. And, you know, black, really like the classic black there as well. So you can get it right now in your closet on sale, chatsports.com/throwback. Make sure you go now so you can get yours in your size before they all run out. So a couple players that they could so this is going to be Jaylen Warren, all right? So F. Coop. Coop is saying F. Coop. So I'm saying Jaylen Warren, not Najee Harris, all right? Because Najee is somebody that I think is going to be getting that 5th-year option picked up, but Jaylen Warren, I think, is more of the dynamic talent that deserves that extension. So because he was an undrafted free agent, he's now in the final year of his contract, and I really do think that he has earned the ability to be the number 1 running back and the number 1 option in this run game moving forward. You look at the average there, Jaylen Warren averaged over a yard more per carry than Najee Harris. Right? He had less touchdowns, but he also had a lot less touches in the red zone. The yards, rushing yards over expectation, almost doubled what Najee had. So Jaylen was one of the better running backs in the league in that category. He had the higher grade as well, even though both of them graded out pretty darn well. And then the overall value, points above replacement, Jaylen Warren was the superior back to Najee Harris. So even though I do like the roles that both of these guys play in the offense, I would rather extend Jaylen because I think that's more of a unique skill set, the ability to cut, the explosiveness, also the value that he brings as a receiver and as a pass blocker really does exceed what Najee's able to bring, at least in my opinion. Now, for the time being, I am picking up Najee Harris's 5th-year option. I want them both on the team for at least the next 2 years because I think they're a really good duo. But if I'm giving one an extension, I'm going with Jaylen Warren over Najee Harris. So pick one guy to extend for me down there in the comment section. And by the way, when you're down there in the comment section, type F Coop for screwing up that graphic. Type NH if you want Najee Harris, or type JW for Jaylen Warren. Do me a favor right now. Let me know who you want to extend at the running back position if you're GM Omar Khan. For me personally, guys, like I said, it's definitely Jaylen Warren, and I definitely think that he's the more dynamic talent. That's the choice for me. Then we get to the second extension candidate here, which is James Daniels, the offensive guard here, the right guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's really played well over the last 2 seasons. Kind of had a rough start to the year last year, but then really finished strong, and he's really been the most consistently good offensive lineman on the Steelers for quite a while at this point, at least in my opinion. You look at the Pro Football Focus grade last year, I mean, it's been a little bit lower than what it has been, but again, I kind of contribute that to kind of a slower start. Finished 33rd out of 79 NFL offensive guards, but usually it's higher than that, and the way that he graded out at the end of the season was a lot better than what is at the beginning. I really do think that he's still a good fit for Arthur Smith's system, and I want to see him in the black and gold for at least the next couple of years. then the final guy that could get an extension is Pat Freiermuth, the tight end, because obviously he is a big talent. He's a really talented receiving tight end, all right? But I'm not sure if I want to give him the extension this offseason, all right? And the reason why I wouldn't extend Muth this offseason is I want to see what he looks like in this Arthur Smith offense, all right? Because usually Arthur Smith likes tight ends that are good blockers and good receivers, and Pat Freiermuth is really known more as a receiver than as a blocker. So if he's not holding up his end of the bargain, in run blocking this year, I don't know if I want to give him that extension, all right? I might want to try to find somebody that's a better fit for this offense long term. But hey, if he really takes it on, if he puts on some weight, if he really learns how to be a really good blocker in this league, along with the high-end receiving upside that he has, absolutely during the season, if he's killing it, I'm giving him that extension and locking him down for the long-term future. Now, you be the GM here. You be Omar Khan. Would you extend Pat Freiermuth this offseason, or do you maybe want to wait to the season to get that extension done if he does a good job? Type yes if you want to get that deal done now, or type no if you want to wait. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because if Omar Khan makes any of these moves that we talked about today, we're going to be right here giving you guys a breaking news video right here on the channel. Also, you can go check me out on Twitter at Jack_Sperry for additional Steelers content 24/7, 365. All right, so second one done.
So F-Coop, but I was looking in the chat. Most of the people said they would rather extend Najee Harris than Jaylen Warren.
And, I like both backs, but I want the more dynamic guy, and Najee's just not really all that dynamic.
I'll say this.
He's valuable in short area situations and in the red zone, but Warren is great as a running back, he's great as a receiver, and he's great as a pass blocker, and he's just the complete package to me.
It felt to me that as the season went on, Najee got better. I think basically once right around when Canada got fired, I think Najee really turned it on. He's definitely not as dynamic as Warren for sure, as we showed you with the stats, but I think I'd be comfortable with extending either of them.
Yeah, but you have to pick one,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Because you're not going to pay big money to both. And honestly, I think if you get an extension done with Warren now, I think it's going to be way less expensive than if you try to re-sign him next offseason, because I think he's going to have a massive season in Arthur Smith's offense.
Would this be year 4?
Year 3 for Jalen.
Okay, year 3.
So he's an undrafted free agent. I really do think that he's worth that extension, in my opinion. I think he's a really, really freaking good player, man. So we got one from Jacob Wizerak. Says, what do you think about bringing in Eric Bieniemy and Vrabel as some type of assistants if the Steelers have room and create a super coach?
We'll answer this on the mailbag, Jacob.
We'll answer this on the mailbag. Good question, Jacob. You always ask the really good questions, man, and I appreciate you. All right, so are we good to get into the mailbag here, Coop?
Let's get a couple more questions. You have 30 seconds to get your questions in. Use #Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show. Then we'll get right into our Steelers talk mailbag.
And by the way, if you only use #Steelers, if you don't super chat and you don't get your question
Not
on the
guaranteed.
mailbag, I don't want to see you crying. All right, I don't want to see crying down in the chat if you don't get your question on the show and you didn't super chat. All right, so we try to get everybody on the mailbag. We try to put as many people as possible, but we're going to put the priority on the super chatters. All right, so if you got a question
about it.
#Steelers, all right, for a chance to get on the show. But if you want to guarantee your spot, super chat. Next 30 seconds, let's get those questions in, as many as we can. Let's go.
Come on now. Come on, baby. Hydrating, making sure you're staying with that H2O.
Yeah, my tongue's not bleeding today, so that's fantastic.
That's a positive.
That's absolutely crazy. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good to go.
All right, let's get into this mailbag right now. Let's get into this mailbag on Steelers Talk Live, coming at you right now. I just completely blanked. I literally couldn't think of any words to say. All right, I'm just gonna start. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're not even taking shots, and we're going crazy here on Steelers Talk. Okay. Welcome to Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today I'm going to be answering your questions on the Pittsburgh Steelers here as we really kick things going into the 2024 offseason. I got your questions on the NFL Draft, free agency and even some trade rumors coming up here in just a second. But first, make sure you guys click that subscribe button to join the most interactive Steelers community right here on YouTube, 100% free. Every single week on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our live shows, and you can get your questions on these mailbags. So really do appreciate all of the support. And if you want, really do try to keep you guys involved in every way that we can here to have your voice heard. So if you want to get your voice heard on the channel here, make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us for our live shows every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. All right, so let's start with Chase Talks Steelers. $5 super chat says, random question, if the Steelers get Justin Fields, what number would he wear? Because isn't number 1 retired? And I was thinking number 2 would look the best. So yes, number 1 and number 0 are numbers that the Steelers do not give out. So he could not wear number 1. And I actually agree with Chase here that I think number 2 is probably the best secondary option there. Now, people have thrown out number 11. I don't hate number 11. Coop likes number 11 personally. I think I would like 2. I think he'd look pretty sweet in the black and gold wearing that number 2. I think that'd be freaking awesome, man. I'm not going to lie. Then we got one from Timmy Locklear, and he says, we need a center. The play was not up to the Steelers standards, and I couldn't agree more. And I actually think the big question is not whether or not they're going to replace Mason Cole. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I think Mason Cole's going to get cut. But how are they going to replace him? Are they going to get a free agent? Are they going to draft a rookie? Are they going to do both? I think that's going to be a very interesting question to see how the Steelers answer that. And honestly, if I'd have to guess, I think they're going to go to free agency. Aaron Brewer, the center from the Tennessee Titans, that was there when Arthur Smith was there in Tennessee, is available, and he's still pretty young. He's a very good center. I would expect Aaron Brewer to be a name to watch out for here as a potential free agency target at the position, but also in the draft. Jackson Powers-Johnson, Cedric Van Pran, Zach Frazier, all of them are great in terms of, I think, starting capable centers heading into the league here via the draft. So absolutely, got to make a move. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Then we got one from this Mike Tomlin guy, and he says, what are your thoughts on potentially trading for Brandon Ayuk this offseason? It's not going to happen, all right? Brandon Ayuk may get traded, but the chances of him coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers are practically zero, all right? Because, I mean, we already have a guy like Brandon Ayuk in Deontay Johnson. Now, you can make an argument Ayuk is better than DJ, but it's like if you're getting rid of Deontay, that means that he's just not a good fit in this offense. And I'm not sure Ayuk is a great fit in this offense either. I think he's maybe a little bit underrated as a run blocker. I think he's better than Deontay Johnson in that regard. But I'm not sure if that's really a great fit here in Pittsburgh. And they're going to want insane compensation after the year Ayuk just had. And I'm not sure the Steelers are going to be willing to give that up. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Would you replace Deontay Johnson with Brandon Ayuk this offseason? Now, keep in mind, you're going to have to give up quite a bit of draft capital to make it happen. So give me a yes or no down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or no. Then we got one from my man, Jacob Wizarak, a Gold Club member, $5 super chat, says, what do you think about bringing in Eric Bieniemy and Mike Vrabel as some type of assistants if the Steelers have room and create a super-like coach staff? So I would love it. I like Eric Bieniemy. I like the mentality that he brings. I think that he would provide a nice maybe alternative viewpoint from where Arthur Smith is coming from, because they run very different styles of offense, and they could maybe mesh some of those ideas together to kind of create the best possible system. And then Mike Vrabel's a great leader, man. It's like bringing in Brian Flores to be the linebackers coach. It's like, I don't care what role Vrabel's in. He's going to really have an impact in terms of the leadership that he has in the locker room and the players that he's developing. So I would love to bring in either one of them or both of them to the staff. The only question is this the spot that they want to go and coach in 2024? But in terms of my answer here, if they want to come coach here, absolutely. I'm all open arms. Then we got one from Damian Roy, my man. And he says, Justin Fields equals Cordell Stewart 2.0. Where is the lie? I mean, he's way better as a rusher than Cordell Stewart ever was. He's got a stronger arm, in my opinion. So I kind of see where he's coming with on that, but I do think Justin Fields, especially in this offense, where Arthur Smith's going to be able to use him in very creative ways in the QB run game with the two good running backs. You know, you get a new tackle, a new center. I think this could be the best run game in the National Football League. And then you put Justin Fields in a quarterback-friendly system where he's not going to be asked to do all this crazy progression stuff that he was asked to do in Chicago. It's going to be like 1 to 2 reads, and he's going to be able to be decisive and throw the ball down the field, which is what he does best. So I think Justin Fields is an excellent fit here in Pittsburgh. I think it would actually work out if he ended up getting traded here. Now, of course, there is a little bit of risk there, but I think he'd be probably a little bit better than Cordell Stewart. All right, so now go down to our friends here at Fanatics, and they're currently giving you guys a fantastic deal on a TJ Watt t-shirt on sale for their off-season deals here on their website. Just go to chatsports.com/TJ to get this awesome TJ Watt t-shirt today. Guys, I'm telling you right now, TJ Watt is pissed off after not winning Defensive Player of the Year this year, after he clearly deserved to win it. And the last time that happened, this guy broke the freaking NFL sack record. This guy's going to be coming into 2024 with a vengeance. You're going to want to be rocking that t-shirt on Steelers game days this year. You can get it right now before they run out in your size. Go to chatsports.com/TJ to get this t-shirt in your closet right now on sale on the Fanatics website. Then we got one from Trey Hendo. He says, what would you trade TJ Watt in exchange for Justin Herbert? Oh my goodness, man. Are we talking about TJ Watt trade rumors again and Justin Herbert? I mean, there's nothing that annoys me more than TJ Watt trade rumors and Justin Herbert trade rumors. And this guy combined the two. But, okay, in the fairy tale world where Los Angeles is saying, we'll give you Justin Herbert for TJ Watt, am I taking that deal? Yes, I'm taking that deal. All right, TJ Watt is one of the most expensive edge rushers in football. He is getting older, and Justin Herbert plays the most important position on the field. He's locked up to a long-term contract, and he's got the type of talent that could compete with a guy like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. It's the most important position. All right, so if you're asking me if I'd take a star-level quarterback over a star-level edge rusher that's older than the quarterback, absolutely, straight up, I'm taking Justin Herbert. Now the thing is, there's no way this ever happens. All right, the Steelers are not trading TJ Watt. The Chargers are not trading Justin Herbert. But in this fairy tale scenario here, would you trade TJ Watt in exchange for Justin Herbert straight up? Type T if you're trading him, or type P if you're passing on it on Justin Herbert for TJ Watt. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so make sure you guys like today's video if you're a real one. With the way the YouTube algorithm works is that the more people that like a video, the more it pushes it out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. So if you want to help our channel grow today, I'd really appreciate it if you click that thumbs up icon and help out our channel. All right, so now we got Kermit is my God here. He says, if Justin Fields pans out, what will the contract situation be like in 1 to 2 years? It's going to be $50 million plus. Okay, so it's going to be very, very expensive. All right, but if Justin Fields works out, he's worth that money. All right, he's the best rushing quarterback on the planet. He's got a super strong arm. If it works out, that means he's playing well in Arthur Smith's system. All right, so if everything is panning out, he is actually worth that $50 million price tag. As opposed to Kenny Pickett, if he pans out and he becomes the decent game manager type quarterback that he's capable of becoming, is he really worth $50 million? No freaking way. All right, so we need to get somebody in the building that's actually worth that kind of money 2 to 3 years down the road, and Justin Fields is definitely the type of guy that is worth that kind of dough heading into the future. Then we got Kevin the Elder God, $5 super chat here, says, I continue to see Fasciano and Fuaga slide down boards. Could you see the Steelers trade up for one of them, or is it only center cornerback at 20? So it really does depend on what they do in free agency. If they pick up a free agent tackle like a Trent Brown or Mike Onwenu or something along those lines, they're not going to really need to make a big move at the top of the draft for a tackle because you already have Broderick Jones. And honestly, I would rather them go out in free agency and get a tackle as opposed to drafting another one, because this offensive line is going to be very, very run dependent. All right, and I don't know if I want 2 rookie/second-year offensive tackles on the bookends of my offensive line with that kind of system. I'd rather have a nice veteran on one side and then a developing Broderick Jones on the other. I don't want 2 developing guys on either side of the line. So I don't think tackle I mean, you never know. It depends on what they do in free agency. If they don't get a tackle in free agency, they absolutely have to get a guy in the draft. But at the end of the day, man, it's really going to depend on what they do in free agency. Then we got one from Emo Steeler. He says, in order, which QBs would you most like to see as the quarterback of the Steelers this year between Pickett, Fields, and Wilson? Number one, this might surprise some people, Russell Wilson. Vet minimum contract, experienced in the playoffs, Super Bowl champion, was a top 10 in passer rating last year, top 5 in touchdown percentage. The guy can still play, all right? And he's one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. So I'll take him first because he gives the Steelers what they need, and it gives them opportunities in free agency that other quarterbacks just don't give them. Number 2, I'll go Fields because of the potential upside of having a guy like that running your offense. Third, Pickett. I do not want Pickett as the starting quarterback of this team next year. If he is the quarterback, I'll back him. I'll support the team. It's not like I'm going to stop doing the show if Kenny Pickett's the starting quarterback. I just don't think there's a future there, and I think we're wasting our time if we roll it with Kenny Pickett again. Now, do me a favor here. Rank these quarterbacks down there in the comments section. All right, which ones in order would you like to see as the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. For me, 1 Wilson, 2 Justin Fields, 3 Kenny Pickett. Give me your answer down there in the comments section. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us for our live show every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to have your voice heard right here on Steelers Talk. All right, 3 down, 1 to go. And we need the hustle here. Coop's got a deadline here.
I'm double duty today.
He's on double duty. He's actually on Knicks later tonight.
Yes.
So if you want to watch the Knicks watch party with our friend Marshall Green, Coop is going to be producing that. So you can check that out after today's show. But make sure you guys continue to get those super chats in. If you want your name on the helmet, $20. If you want raffle tickets, every $10 spent, all that great stuff. But let's jump right into it here. I'm going to take one more drink. And then we'll get into this final segment here, which is the Super Bowl offseason plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh. All right, Coop. We ready to get things going? All right, let me just find my place on the script. Okay, we're good. Let's get into this one right now. The Super Bowl offseason plan, the best plan to get the Steelers in position to win Super Bowl 59 in 2024 is coming at you right now. Of course, the Super Bowl just happened there in Las Vegas. The Kansas City Chiefs were named Super Bowl champions for the 2023-2024 NFL season. But how can the Steelers get to that point next year? Today, I'm going to be going over the offseason plan that I think would give the Pittsburgh Steelers the best chance to win Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans by this time next year. All right, so before we get into that, do me a favor right now, click that thumbs up icon to start today's show. The way the YouTube algorithm works, guys, is the more people that click that thumbs up icon, the more they'll push this out to other Steelers fans like yourself. So if you're enjoying our content, if you like what we do here and you want to help us grow our channel here, do me a favor. I'd really appreciate it if you click that thumbs up icon to kick off today's show. So first off, let's cut some people, all right? Let's send some guys packing, all right? And let's start with the guys that I just don't really see a future with this football team moving forward. We're going to cut Allen Robinson and save $10 million. Goodness gracious, $10 million for Allen Robinson. Then we got Mason Cole, terrible center, don't want him on the team. Save about $5 million there by cutting him. And then DeMonte KZ and Keanu Neal, you save over $5 million by cutting the both of them. I actually like the other safeties that are going to be here on the roster in 2024. No place for them on the roster. Then a couple players I think that they could restructure this offseason. Minkah Fitzpatrick, who still has 3 years left on his deal, and Alex Highsmith, who still has 4 years left on his deal. So we saved $20 million by cutting the players, those 4 players that we just laid out, and then who knows how much you can save with depending on how much they restructure here between these two guys' contracts. There's definitely room to do a lot, and there's room to do less, but keep in mind the more that they do, the more that it's backloaded towards the end of their deals, and it makes it more difficult to manage as we approach the end of their contracts. Now, a couple players that I want to extend here and kind of lock them up for the future. I want Jaylen Warren. He's on the final year of his contract as an undrafted free agent. He is extension eligible here, and I think he's more explosive than a Najee Harris at this point in his career. I'd rather give him the extension, especially now, because I think he's going to absolutely explode in 2024 in Arthur Smith's offense. I'd rather get his deal done now, while he's probably cheaper, than wait till the end of the season and re-sign him when he's probably going to be making number one running back money. So I'd rather get him right now. And then also James Daniels, really solid offensive guard. I think he's a really good fit for Arthur Smith's system as well. Want to keep him here in Pittsburgh for the long haul. Now, do you guys believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let me know. Is there any shot that the Pittsburgh Steelers can win the Super Bowl in 2024? Even a 1% chance. Do you think there's a shot they can dethrone Mahomes and the Chiefs in 2024? Give me a yes or no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or no down there in the comment section. So the players that I want to re-sign here as we enter NFL free agency, I want to bring back Miles Killebrew and Miles Boykin because they're both excellent special teams players and decent backups. And then Armon Watts, he was top 20 in the NFL last year among defensive interior players in Pro Football Focus grade. I mean, Armon Watts kind of quietly had a really good season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if they can get him for a team-friendly deal, once again as a rotational piece in this defense, I think he plays a really critical role here, giving some relief to Cam Hayward and Larry Ogunjobi that I think would really work well, again, with the Steelers here in 2024. Eric Rowe as well, death row, bring him back, baby. Put him alongside Patrick Peterson and Minkah Fitzpatrick and Trenton Thompson. I really like Eric Rowe and what he brought to this team this year in terms of his versatility. And then Marcus Golden. I like Marcus, all right? He's a good run blocker, decent pass rusher in a rotational role. I would elevate Nick Herbig to that true number 3 edge rusher on third downs, but Marcus Golden, good number 4 edge rusher. If he wants to come back on a team-friendly deal, I'd be willing to entertain bringing him back. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, 2024 NFL free agency. I've got a number of free agents that I have the Steelers targeting to get them to Super Bowl 59 at the Superdome in New Orleans next year. But before we break that down, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. Now that NFL season is officially over, you can go see a Pittsburgh Penguins game in the NHL. You can go see a Pittsburgh Pirates game when they start getting things going again this spring at PNC Park. Whatever the case may be, you can get tickets for it on the Game Time app, which is the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, people. It boasts a lowest price guarantee on all tickets to any event. And it's not just sports, guys. It's theater, it's music, it's comedy, it's music festivals. Anything you can buy tickets for, you can get it on the Game Time app at the lowest price guarantee. And it's because of that it's the only ticketing app that you need on your phone. All right, so you can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps and you're set. It's a super easy to use interface, and tickets are also sent directly to your phone. Another great feature, so you never have to dig through your email to get the tickets. Snag your tickets now without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. That's one word, all caps. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat, one word, all caps, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Now, this one might be a bit controversial here, and let me know if you disagree down there in the comments, but I really do believe that Russell Wilson gives the Pittsburgh Steelers the best chance to win the Super Bowl next year. Now, I'm also okay with Justin Fields, but there are a couple reasons why I have Russell Wilson as a better option than even Justin Fields at this point. Number one is affordability, and the reason for this is that there is an offset clause with his contract with the Denver Broncos. So if the Broncos release him this offseason, it really seems like they're going to, wherever Wilson signs with the next year, they're going to be on the hook for the rest of what he was due to make this year. So he was due to make like $38 million in 2024. If he gets released, he can sign for the Steelers for the vet minimum, which is just over $1.7 million. And the Broncos would be on the hook for the rest of his contract. So Wilson would be able to get paid. He'd be able to play for a team that has a Super Bowl-ready roster, in my opinion. And he could play for an all-time great franchise here, and a blue blood franchise in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it makes sense for the Steelers because you're getting a super cheap quarterback that's still playing really good football, and then also makes sense for Wilson because you have a shot to win a Super Bowl with a really good football team, but you're still getting paid. Reason number 2, the ability to play in the clutch and then his playoff experience, all right? We see it with like Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs this year. Playoff experience matters. Super Bowl experience matters. So if you want to win a Super Bowl, you better get a quarterback that's comfortable in that big moment. And Russell Wilson has been comfortable in those moments his entire career. He's top 10 in National Football League history in game-winning drives and fourth quarter comebacks. All right, so that is absolutely incredible. He's one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the National Football League history, and he's a Super Bowl champion. He has been to that game multiple times. He's been in AFC and NFC championship games. This guy has been on that big stage. If the Steelers can get there, and I absolutely think they're capable of getting to a place to that caliber with Wilson as their quarterback, this guy's not going to flinch. This guy's going to give you the best chance to hoist that Lombardi trophy if he can take you that far. Reason number 3, I still think he's a good quarterback. Now, he's not the perennial MVP candidate that we came to know when he was in Seattle, but he's still a really good starting quarterback in this league with a great deep ball. And could you imagine that arcing deep ball with George Pickens' 50-50 ball ability? I mean, good Lord, that could move mountains here in Pittsburgh. I absolutely love the way that Russell Wilson throws that thing. He's got great pocket presence, which would be a great refreshing change from Kenny Pickett, who has none of that. And he's definitely somebody that has really, really shown to be a really good quarterback throughout his career. He was top 5 in touchdown percentage. He was top 10 in passer rating. He was top 3 in adjusted completion percentage last year. He was a really good quarterback, all right? So don't get it twisted. Russell Wilson could definitely get the job done. And think of it this way, guys, okay? This team was 10-7 with average or bad quarterback play the entire season. All right, just imagine if you get a good NFL starter like Russell Wilson who has the clutch factor. And also you're getting him, again, on the vet minimum, so it opens up opportunities to get a bunch of really great talent in free agency to surround him both on offense and defense. So I think that this maximizes the possibility of the Pittsburgh Steelers winning a Super Bowl next year. And I really do think Russell Wilson has what it takes in terms of on-field play, in terms of affordability, in terms of everything to deliver the goods here in Pittsburgh. I really do believe that. However, I would still be okay with Justin Fields, all right? I think that with Fields and his rushing ability, his ability to run, with the great weapons that we have here in Pittsburgh, with the QB-friendly system that Arthur Smith brings to the table, I really do think Justin Fields, this system can accentuate his strengths, get him on the run, use his big arm down the field with those play-action deep shots, and really limit the weaknesses like the turnovers and the mental processing and all those different things that have plagued him in his career to this point. I think Arthur Smith completely transformed the career of Ryan Tannehill, and I think he could do the same for Justin Fields in an even bigger way. And honestly, guys, at the end of the day, I just don't want it to be Kenny Pickett to be the starting quarterback because I don't see the upside with Pickett. All right, I think he can get better. I think he can become like a decent NFL starter who's like a decent game manager. But am I seeing Kenny Pickett taking down Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert to win Super Bowls in this league with the amount of talent that he has? No way, in my opinion. You got to take a bigger swing. And listen, if the swing doesn't pan out, fine. You can restart with a new quarterback. But I just don't see it with Kenny Pickett. And at the end of the day, I'd be pretty upset if he was the starting quarterback heading into 2024. So which way do you want to go at the quarterback position? Do you want to go Russ, type RW? Do you like Justin Fields and the upside that he brings, type JF? Do you want to stick with the kid, Kenny Pickett, type KP? Or do you want someone else, type O? And then let me know which quarterback you would want to be the starting quarterback of this team heading into 2024. So some other free agents to consider here, and I think that I have picking up here if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd bring in Tyler Boyd, bring him back to the city of Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh native, Pitt Panther, versatile, can play in the slot, can play outside, is a good blocker. He's a great fit for Arthur Smith's offense. Trent Brown, a top 10 graded offensive tackle in football last year. I'm going to put him on the left side, keep Broderick on the right side where he had so much success this year. And I like the value of just $7.5 million over 2 seasons there for Trent Brown. Kenny Moore, really good slot, versatile, outside corner as well, can play both inside and outside. Great locker room guy, former Pro Bowler. Really gives you options in terms of what you can do in the draft. Plus, he's pretty inexpensive. He's not going to be nearly the amount of Jalen Johnson or L'Jarius Sneed. And then at center, I'm going to have them address it in free agency with Aaron Brewer, who is Arthur Smith's center there with the Tennessee Titans back in 2020. Just rave reviews from Arthur Smith on Aaron Brewer. I know that he loves him. He's got a pretty decent contract there in terms of what the projection is from Pro Football Focus. 3 years, $6 2/3 of $1 million per season. I think that's a really good deal, and I think he's a perfect fit for what Arthur Smith wants to do at that position. So coming up next, I got my Steelers mock draft in this situation with bringing in Russell Wilson, with bringing in the free agents that I'm bringing in. What does the Steelers mock draft look like in this scenario? I'm going to let you know here in just a second. But first, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we're going to have Steelers breaking news coverage, guys, all throughout the offseason. When they hire or when they sign new players in free agency, if they get a new quarterback, if they make a trade for Justin Fields, if that breaking news happens, we're going to have you covered with a video right here on Steelers Talk. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you click that subscribe button right now. So now, round one, pick number 20. Quinion Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo, can play off coverage, can play man coverage, can play in press. He's got long arms, great recovery speed. He was the best corner at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. It wasn't close, in my opinion. This guy reminds me a lot of Devon Witherspoon when he was coming out of Illinois last year, and he went top 10 in the NFL draft last year. If he falls to number 20, I think he's the perfect running mate to put alongside Joey Porter Jr. for the next decade. Round number 2, Edgerrin Cooper, inside linebacker from Texas A&M. And the reason why I'm going for him right now is that we didn't get an inside linebacker in free agency, and Edgerrin Cooper is the best pass coverage linebacker in the draft. He can take away tight ends. He's got great instincts both in zone and in man. That's something the Steelers defense desperately needs. And even though I think this might be a little bit rich for Edgerrin Cooper in terms of positional value, I think he fills a very important role on this defense, so that's why I'm taking him here. Also, round number 3, with bringing in an older quarterback like Russell Wilson, we need kind of something for the future here. So if Spencer Rattler's there at number 84, I like the arm talent. I think he's matured a lot since his high school days, which have really ingrained themselves on the brains of people because of the decision-making at Oklahoma. But, man, I really do think this guy has developed. I think that, he's maybe not the best quarterback prospect in the world. His decision-making can still get a lot better. I think if you sit him behind a guy like Russell Wilson, this guy really is the limit for Spencer Rattler, who has all the throwing, who has all the arm talent in the world, super clean throwing mechanics. This guy can be a starter in the league. You give him a couple years to develop behind Russell Wilson. I think he could be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers once Russell Wilson is done. Then we get to round 4 here, and I'm going to take a really good wide receiver out of the University of Virginia, Malik Washington. He's going to be he's probably going to start his career as a slot guy, super tiny, but man, great run blocker. He plays with great leverage. He's really built up, man, really, really strong, and he's got incredible quicks. One of the best, one of the highest graded wide receivers in the country last year, according to Pro Football Focus. He was 3rd in the nation. He was one of the top in terms of yards after the catch. This guy's a great fit. I would love to have him on this team moving forward. Then number 20, 120 in the 4th round. I'm going to take somebody to kind of groom, to kind of take over for Cam Hayward once he retires, and Christian Boyd, the defensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. I saw this guy practicing at the Shrine Bowl practices a couple weeks ago. This guy was dominating everybody. This guy's got moves for days. He can be a great pass rusher. I think he could be a great 3 technique next to Keanu Benton's nose tackle in the future once Cam Hayward decides to call it quits. You give him a year to learn from Cam, and then you implement him as a starter moving forward. I really believe in Christian Boyd out of UNI. Then we got round 6 here. I'm going to take Tommy Eichenberg, inside linebacker from Ohio State. He's got the pedigree you're looking for. On tape, he wasn't nearly as good this past season as he was in 2022, hence the drop in his draft value. But he's definitely somebody that could potentially be trusted on the field as a potential backup in this league. You get Edgerrin Cooper earlier in this draft to be kind of a rotational piece. Eichenberg's more of a true backup, but I do think there's some value there here in round 6. Then in round 7, one of my biggest sleepers in this year's NFL draft, I am so high on Garrett Greenfield, the offensive tackle from South Dakota State. I mean, this guy has got the long arms. He's got the quick feet that you look for. He's got the frame. He's got the anchor. This guy was so dominant on his college film. I cannot believe that he is not being ranked by Pro Football Focus on their big board right now. This guy is a sleeping giant, ready to be grabbed in the 7th round for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think he'd be a great swing tackle to start his career here at the Black and Gold. So let's look at the projected starting lineup here for the Pittsburgh Steelers based on my plan to get us to the Super Bowl. We got Russell Wilson, the clutch, veteran, savvy quarterback with the great deep ball as our QB. Then we got Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, a great dynamic duo there at running back to really be the engine of this offense. And you get Connor Hayward at that fullback position. I think he's going to thrive there in Arthur Smith's offense. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Boyd, and then the rookie Malik Washington as your fourth receiver. I love that wide receiver room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then, of course, we got Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington as a really, really good tight end duo for all the 2 tight end sets Arthur Smith likes to run. Then on the offensive line, you put Trent Brown, a top 10 offensive tackle in football, according to Pro Football Focus, on your left side. You keep Broderick Jones as a really, really good run blocker on the right. You got Sayamalu and Daniels as your guard combo, and then Aaron Brewer, a really, really good center that fits this offense to a T in the middle. Then you shift to defense. Of course, you got T.J. Watt coming off of being snubbed Defensive Player of the Year. Watch out, NFL, because T.J. Watt's coming in 2024. Alex Highsmith had another really good season last year. You still got Ogunjobi, Hayward, and Keanu Benton as your starting interior guys. And then at the linebacker room, you got Landon Roberts, who is a really, really good player for the Steelers last year. Cole Holcomb's coming back from his injury. And Edgerrin Cooper is your tight end eraser on third downs. Then in the secondary, you still have Joey Porter Jr. as the number 1 lockdown guy, Quinion Mitchell as another potential lockdown guy on the other side of him. I mean, good luck going up against that cornerback duo for the next decade, National Football League. Then you get Kenny Moore in the slot, really savvy player, can play outside as well in case one of the top corners gets hurt. Really like the fit there with Kenny Moore. Then Fitzpatrick, of course, at free safety. Patrick Peterson rotates over to strong safety from corner, and then also you have Trenton Thompson and Eric Rowe to rotate in with Patrick Peterson to keep his legs fresh. So now it's red pen time. Let me know down there in the comment section. Grade my offseason plan to get this team to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. At least give them the best possible chance to get there next season. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. If you don't like Russell Wilson, I'm sure you're probably spamming that F button down there in the comment section. But hey, if maybe you have an open mind, you think Russell Wilson could be a decent option, go ahead and let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. Thank you guys for all of your support. I know today was a little bit of a longer video, but make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now for all the latest Steelers news and rumors coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. All right. So, Mr. Coop, we need to get, did we get any more super chats? I think we got one.
We got one from Sam Pugh, but we're having this stupid super chat glitch.
Oh, that sucks. So what'd he say?
Let me go find it real quick, but then I have to run.
Okay, so
he's $10 super chat from my dog Sam Pugh. He said, never understood why we let Colbert run the draft in free agency. We could have had Trent McDuffie instead of KP. Instead, we are searching for a QB and corner.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Colbert is living in the past, man. Omar Khan is the future. He brings in all the new stuff that I like, man. So I'm really happy Kevin Colbert's no longer the guy here. I like Omar Khan and the new school approach that he brings. I'm sorry, Sam, that we can't show your super chat. Our software is being
YouTube.
YouTube. It's being stupid, so we can't show it. But thank you for your $10 super chat. I'm glad I was able to answer it today. Make sure you guys grade my offseason plan down there in the comments section. I'm sure some people aren't going to love the Russell Wilson move because people just have this feeling about him that he's cooked. When he was top 10 in passer rating last year. He was top 5 in touchdown percentage. He was top 3 in adjusted completion percentage. So I don't know, man. I think Russell Wilson's still a good QB, and I think he gives us the best shot. Anyway, that'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you to all the real ones that made it to the end of today's show. We'll see you guys next week for Steelers Talk Live. We'll be back tomorrow for that Kirk Cousins video. We're going to be breaking down the Kirk Cousins rumor tomorrow morning, so make sure you click that subscribe button to not miss that video. And until then,